All right guys, it's Bittersweet. Today I'm gonna show you why I'm selling my investment in Koolina. You've seen this on the channel before. I bought it almost 2 years ago. Check the description because we'll put the listing there. You'll see what we're listing it for, what the pictures look like. I decided to buy it as an investment. It's been good. It's also been other things. We're gonna go upstairs, sit down, have a little chat, and I'll tell you why I'm planning to exit this investment. All right guys, so I mentioned that this is a bittersweet video for me. We'll talk about the sweet part first. So the sweet part, Robert and Jill bought this place. Robert and Jill both, they wanted to come out to Hawaii and enjoy life a bit. And I knew they wanted Koolina. They at first had a hard time in the competitive 2021 market. So after building a relationship, I was able to push them to make the right decisions. And then they started to venture, well, we're not getting Koolina, maybe we'll go Hawaii Kai. And I was like, no, I know you guys want Koolina. They bought this place and only lived here like a year. Robert ended up getting this big job promotion. I texted him something and then he said, funny you should text me. I was gonna reach out to you in the next 2 weeks. We need to sell. I was like, what? You love this place. You renovated this place. You put this extra ounce carpet and these expensive $800 fans and all this stuff in this place. Why? And he had this career decision that he couldn't pass up. And so they're like, do you want to buy it? And I was like, I kind of do. $1 million townhome and it's an investment on an A-class resort with Disney and the Four Seasons being my neighbor and I'm an investor. It was just scary at first. I talked to my wife, should we get it? Yeah, we should get it. It was in a shifting market. It was a scary time. The market was actually going down. Interest rates had come up. We bought it anyway. They were happy that we got it too. So that was the sweet part. The bitter part is, we don't like being Airbnb hosts. Primarily it's my wife, so shout outs to my wife, Michelle. Honestly, we're a little annoyed about someone saying, oh, you don't have the right blow dryer, can we order a different one? We had a rug here. I don't actually know where it's at. They moved it. They decided, well, we're here for a month. We'll move things around. I think this couch is a little moved. You know, recently the last guest, they were nice people, they were okay, but they kept overstuffing the freezer to the very top, and then it would like have this problem where the racks would freeze, and our handyman, who's an appliance specialist too, he'd be like, oh, you can't overstuff the freezer, that's why the thing's freezing up and you can't close it. And then they do it again, he'd come back out, he's like, Derek, I thought you told him. I was like, we did tell him, but they still, like, everything's just too stuffed. And those are just things that we don't want to deal with. There's things like that with my busy schedule, helping you guys with real estate. My wife have taken on a job. Our kids got to a certain age. You know, she's working again. I mean, you're still going to cash flow better in Koolina. Even if, let's say you're negative, you're going to be less negative in Koolina than just buying a house in Eva and renting it for 12 months. If you rent for 30 days, you experience a 2-week vacancy. You rent for 30 days, 2-week vacancy. You end up with like quite a bit of vacancy throughout the year. And you're not allowed to plug those 1, 2, 3 weeks vacancies with a tenant because that's against the rules. You can get fined big. A guy like me, it could probably challenge my real estate license, so it's just not worth it. Because of that, we were negative cash flow last year. Now, I'm not complaining because the appreciation's been great. Back to the sweet part. This thing has out appreciated the market on this island on average. It's done really well. And that's why I said I'm 90% sure we're gonna sell. You know, we bought and it appreciated 20% and 20% inflated, you know, appreciation, inflation, their neighbors. It's worth more now. And that outpaces the negative cash flow. But still, negative cash flow is just a thing. Even if I'm smart enough to do math, well, we're appreciating, you know, 50 grand this year, but we're -7 in cash flow. I get that that's still a net positive, but it's a net positive when you realize the gain. And also, if you're gonna realize the gain without a 1031 exchange, if you're not sure what a 1031 exchange is, it's trading up properties and avoiding taxes. If you're not gonna do that thing, you're just gonna exit, those gains are gonna get hit heavily. I don't wanna come on here and be pretentious and complain about first world problems. What I do wanna do is give some insight to those potential investors who watch this channel, potential buyers who watch this channel, because maybe you wanna buy and live here, you know, 5 months or 8 months of the year, and you're gonna rent those other months. Maybe you're only gonna be here 3 years while you're stationed here, but your exit strategy is to Airbnb this thing. These are all things to consider. And if I were to pay a property manager, I'm probably paying 20-25% of, so a $10,000 booking, if I was so lucky to get that for a month, $2,500 is just going to management fees. I can't stomach that either. Maybe I'm not the world's greatest investor, maybe I don't have the grit for it, but for all those reasons, we are considering strongly, probably going to sell this thing. I'll touch on some more positives of owning this place and why we have enjoyed it and why we're still pooled to keep it for a little bit. We enjoy having the pool access. So the way it works here, you can have up to 3 keys, you know, the key fobs to enter the gate and to go into the pool and stuff. And so our guests can have the two and we can retain one. And so if we're gonna go to this side of the island for something, we can tell our boys, hey, bring your, surf shorts and towels, and we'll go to a resort style pool and hot tub, meet some people. I've met cool people at the pool. What is it? The Koolina Sports Beach Club, whatever. Like this guy lives here and I don't live here. So the actual card says, I think, what is it? Sports and Beach Club? We can go into Lagoon 4 and park for free. And it's only $10. So again, from an investor standpoint, just pay the freaking $10 if you don't want to own it anymore. But it's just nice to come here and be an actual member. One thing that is true is in between in those 2-week vacancy periods, we can always come and use it. Now we thought we would do that more because it's such a nice place. It's nicer than my house, right? But we just don't, The kids have sports on the weekends. We have our clothes at home. We don't want to pay another cleaning fee to get it cleaned after we use it. It's cool to own, It's cool to be a Koolina Sports and Beach Club member. We can golf for $35 after 3:30 p.m., is it? I never done it. It's how much does it cost to golf here? Like $100 and Kauai. So Kauai is like the locals rate. It's over $100. We're in a season of life of working and earning still, and it's apparent to me that positive $7,000 a year, negative $7,000 a year. Our focus and our brain energy is in earning and building this business, building this YouTube channel. I've been caught up in this whole passive income thing. And passive income is great. We should all know what that is, study it, pay attention to it. And passive appreciation is a form of passive wealth building. And that's what owning this thing has been. Right now, this place could be worth $1 gazillion extra. If I'm not either pulling a line of credit on it or selling it, it really effectively has no bearing on my day. But the negative cash flow does, because I write checks to, fix an AC, write checks to pay the mortgage and the electric, and see that go negative each month. So although the negative cash flow is a lesser force than our great appreciation we've experienced, for us, we're thinking we're gonna sell this, likely do a 1031 exchange, find a single family on island. Like we're already negatively cash flowing, so we negative cash flow that, we negative cash flow this, not a ton of difference. And we'll no longer have to be hosts. In these townhome communities, you have A, B, C, D. So C and D are the same units mirrored, B and E are the same units mirrored, and A and F are the same units mirrored. And that's each cluster. I think this will be the nicest B/E unit when I go to sell it. The renovations that Robert and Jill did, because they were planning on living here for a very long time, are beautiful. We had our stager come in and do some interior design and pick out all these finishings from local artists, higher end fridge, just expensive beds and TVs and stuff. And so if we sell it furnished especially, I think it'll be the nicest thing on the market. Maybe in Koolina at the time, with all the communities in Koolina, this might be the most refinished, redone one. Kenji's asking me like expectation versus reality. And I like that because what I always want to make sure, whether it's for this video, for you guys, or just in life, like I never want to be a victim. I misread a couple of things. How this thing would perform a little bit, but also how we would perform. There are Facebook groups that we could go and seek out tenants, proactively search for the tenants, DM people, hey, I heard you're trying to stay in Koolina, like we got a spot. There are other websites like Furnish Finder, etc. Now the prices tend to be dismal there. And that all sounded fun to me at the beginning, right? I'm in 2 multifamily investments on the mainland, these big apartment, complexes where I put a small piece in and they go and fix them up and hold them for 5 years. I had previously been a partner in a 4-plex in Puerto Rico. But this was like our first big thing that was like in our portfolio that we controlled. I just didn't want the smoke. In the end, I didn't want to deal with it. It's only 12 months a year, so it's probably like 11 bookings a year. No big deal, right? And it is kind of no big deal. It's just a lot of stress. Another thing I didn't gauge correctly, expectations versus reality, was the appreciation. We were afraid buying this thing. I'm not going to get too into depreciation, cost segregation, and the tax benefits of a real estate professional and why it was advantageous for us to buy it and depreciate it, because most people watching this don't qualify as a real estate professional, but just know that I saved a lot of taxes when I bought it. But if I sell it without doing a 1031 exchange, I'll pay all of that back, so it will not have mattered. But my appreciation will have paid for 2 years ago's taxes, so that's good. One thing I didn't know is that Koolina would outperform the market so well. This thing is kind of done like 20% per year in years where the market has been potentially negative in some of these surrounding zip codes because of the investment opportunity, because it's a unique very limited thing. A lot of people probably, I think on the mainland, probably look at Hawaii and think, oh, there's probably all these resorts with lagoons and people just getting their coffee and walking around in golf shirts or whatever. And it's like, no, there's like two. Turtle Bay and there's Koolina, you know? Being in the market's better than not being in the market, right? So I don't think it'd be bad for me to keep. I don't think it'd be bad for the right person to buy. But I think the person who buys it obviously has to either want to deal with managing it and or want to live in one of the nicest units in this community. And then that underwriting, the decision for buying is a lot different than our contemplation of holding. I wouldn't mind living, it's nicer than my house, but with kids and where we are in life, it doesn't fit for us to live here. And we don't want to manage it. You know, we're gonna shoot another video today. Shout outs to April. She called in, she watched our videos, she found us on TikTok. She found us on there, then she came over to our YouTube, watched our videos. Her brother died, she inherited this home. She had these other agents look at it, and they all went in for the sale, went in for the sign here, and that pissed her off, to be quite frank. And then she used more colorful language than that. We were talking, and she's like, you know, go and look at it and tell me, you know, if I should sell it. I told her I don't need to see it to help you decide if you should sell it. Me seeing it is a price opinion thing. Whether or not you should sell it is a math equation and an emotional problem. So let's solve for that. April is gonna make $50,000 on this Makaha townhome, roughly. Give or take, she'll net $50,000. If she were to rent it, she'd be break even if she's lucky. My challenge to her is, if you had $50,000 in your pocket, I put $50,000 right here, would you go buy a Makaha townhome, condo? And the answer is, she's like, definitely not. Why do I tell that story? Because that's the same thing for us. Emotionally, we don't have an attachment to this home. We don't need to keep it for sentimental reasons. And in fact, emotionally, it causes a bit of stress because we don't like dealing with guests. And if I were able to take my appreciation, if I'm able to defer taxes on this gain that I've made, would I keep this thing? Our answer is pretty much no. I think I'm saying 90%, but that's just because I have commitment issues. We're pretty much done here, and you're gonna see this listing up. And for any sellers out there, that's a healthy way to look at it. Look at what your net outcome would be. If you had that, would you buy the thing you're in and live the life you have in the thing you're in right now? And if the answer is no, then staying is purely for sentiment, emotion, and or convenience. And that's okay, but let's just be objective about why. Thank you for helping me outwardly process and figure out why I should definitely sell my townhome. Check out the link in the description and help me say goodbye.